There is a profound discovery regarding the human psyche that most people will never fully understand, and it might just save your life. It has been observed that when a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you, they don't just walk away. No, what happens next is far more sinister than you could ever imagine. But before revealing this devastating final tactic that experts have warned us about, you need to understand something crucial about the narcissistic mind that even trained therapists often miss. Within every human being exists what is known as the shadow, the dark, repressed aspects of our personality that we refuse to acknowledge. Groundbreaking research shows that narcissists have a particularly dangerous relationship with their shadow self. What has been discovered about narcissistic behavior will change everything you thought you knew about manipulation. But here is what is truly terrifying. Most people don't realize they're dealing with a narcissist until it's too late. It is explained that narcissists project their shadow onto others, meaning they see their own darkness reflected in the people around them. But when they encounter someone who can see through their facade, someone who becomes too dangerous to manipulate, something extraordinary happens in their psychological makeup. And this is where the most chilling observation comes into play. Stay with me, because what is about to be revealed could protect you from psychological devastation. We all wear what is called a persona, a mask we present to the world. For most people, this persona is simply a social adaptation. However, it has been found that for narcissists, the persona isn't just a mask, it's their entire identity. This discovery shocked the psychological community. When a narcissist's persona is threatened by someone who sees their true nature, they don't just defend it, they declare war. It has been observed that narcissists have what is termed an inflated ego, a psychological state where they believe they are superior to others. This inflation serves as a defense mechanism against their deep-seated feelings of inadequacy and shame. There is something about narcissistic rage that most people don't know, and understanding this could be the difference between freedom and psychological imprisonment. When you become too dangerous to manipulate, you're essentially threatening the narcissist's entire psychological structure. This triggers a psychological crisis that activates their most primitive defense mechanisms. It has been discovered that narcissists go through 3 distinct stages when they encounter someone they can no longer control. Stage 1 is the testing phase. According to observations, narcissists first attempt to probe your psychological boundaries. They're looking for psychological weak points, areas where they can insert their manipulation. But here is what has been noticed that will make your blood run cold. If you successfully resist their initial manipulation attempts, you've just marked yourself as a threat. During this phase, narcissists are conducting what is termed psychological reconnaissance. They're studying your reactions, your triggers, and your defense mechanisms. And what has been discovered about their next move will leave you speechless. Stage 2 is the escalation phase. When narcissists realize their usual tactics aren't working, they enter what is called compensatory behavior. They overcompensate for their lack of control by becoming more aggressive in their manipulation attempts. Research shows this is where narcissists begin to employ what is termed psychological warfare. They may use gaslighting, projection, and emotional manipulation with increased intensity. But there is something terrifying about this phase. It's actually a test to see if you'll break under pressure. If you don't, It is observed that narcissists in this stage often recruit what are called flying monkeys, other people who unknowingly assist in their manipulation campaign. This is a sophisticated psychological strategy that is particularly insidious because what happens in the third stage is something that could destroy even the strongest minds. Stage 3 is the recognition phase. This is where the most important discovery comes into play. When a narcissist finally realizes that you are completely immune to their manipulation, they experience what is called narcissistic mortification, a psychological wound so deep that it threatens their entire sense of self. And this is when they deploy the one last dirty trick that experts warned could be more devastating than any previous manipulation. When narcissists can no longer control you through direct manipulation, they attempt something called psychological inversion. They try to make you question your own sanity and perception of reality. This final tactic involves the narcissist positioning themselves as the victim while painting you as the aggressor. This is shadow projection on steroids. But here is what makes this tactic so dangerous. It exploits the collective unconscious, shared psychological patterns that exist in all humans. The narcissist taps into society's natural tendency to sympathize with apparent victims. This is not just manipulation. It's psychological terrorism designed to isolate you from your support system. The smear campaign is the narcissist's attempt to control the narrative when they can no longer control you. It has been observed that narcissists have an uncanny ability to manipulate group psychology. They instinctively understand archetypal patterns, universal psychological themes that resonate with people on a deep, unconscious level. They position themselves as the archetypal victim and you as the archetypal villain. Research reveals something about this tactic that most people never realize until it's too late. Narcissists often begin their smear campaigns by sharing what appears to be legitimate concerns about your behavior. They present themselves as worried, confused, or hurt by your actions. But the true purpose behind this apparent vulnerability is a calculated strategy to recruit allies for their psychological warfare. They are masterful at identifying people who are susceptible to manipulation, targeting empathetic individuals who naturally want to help someone in distress. The ultimate goal of the narcissist's final manipulation tactic is isolation. Research shows that narcissists understand that humans are social creatures who need connection and validation. They systematically work to separate you from your support network by poisoning your relationships one by one. They plant seeds of doubt about your character in the minds of your friends, family, and colleagues. It has been found that they use a specific psychological technique that makes their lies seem believable. Truth sandwiching. They embed their lies between factual statements, making the entire narrative seem credible. This technique exploits the human brain's tendency to accept information that comes bundled with verifiable facts. The conscious mind struggles to separate the truth from the lies. It was discovered that when narcissists can no longer manipulate you directly, they project their own shadow characteristics onto you with unprecedented intensity. This projection serves multiple purposes. It allows the narcissist to disown their own negative traits while simultaneously attacking your character. They unconsciously assign their own motivations and behaviors to you. If they're manipulative, they'll accuse you of manipulation. If they're abusive, they'll claim you're the abuser. This projection is effective because it exploits the psychological principle called confirmation bias amplification. When people hear accusations that contain elements of psychological truth, even when those elements don't apply to you, their brains automatically begin searching for evidence to support the claims. The narcissist's final manipulation tactic involves a complete inversion of reality. They systematically rewrite the narrative of your relationship to position themselves as the victim. But what makes this technique so devastatingly effective is something most people never anticipate: psychological timing. They know exactly when to deploy their inversion technique for maximum impact, specifically targeting moments when you're most vulnerable, such as during stress, grief, or major life changes. They exploit your emotional vulnerability to make their false narrative seem more believable. During these periods, your psychological defenses are weakened, making you more susceptible to self-doubt and confusion. When narcissists deploy their final manipulation tactic, they amplify their gaslighting techniques to unprecedented levels. This isn't just casual gaslighting, it's systematic psychological assault. They begin questioning not just your perceptions, but your fundamental capacity for rational thought. They suggest that you're unstable, unreliable, or mentally unwell. The goal isn't just to make you doubt specific events, it's to make you doubt your entire sense of reality. This is called psychological reality erosion. They systematically attack your confidence in your own memory, judgment, and perception, wanting you to become so uncertain that you stop trusting yourself entirely. Narcissists also understand and exploit social proof, the tendency for people to look to others for cues about how to think and behave. When they can't manipulate you directly, they manipulate the people around you to create false social proof that supports their narrative. They specifically target people who are naturally empathetic and want to believe the best in others, turning their compassion into a weapon against you. This exploits the helper psychology, where people naturally inclined to help others often fail to recognize manipulation because their empathy overrides their critical thinking. The narcissist's final manipulation tactic includes systematic character destruction. This goes far beyond simple gossip. They attack your fundamental character traits and motivations, suggesting that your positive qualities are actually negative traits in disguise. They systematically reframe your strengths as weaknesses. If you're independent, they'll call you selfish. If you're confident, they'll call you arrogant. If you set boundaries, they'll call you controlling. This reframing technique is effective because it often contains a grain of truth, as every positive trait can potentially become negative when taken to extremes. This process also involves emotional terrorism, the deliberate infliction of psychological pain designed to break your spirit. This isn't random cruelty, it's calculated psychological warfare designed to force you into submission. They specifically target your deepest insecurities, weaponizing the intimate knowledge they've gained about you. The goal of emotional terrorism is to break your psychological resistance so completely that you'll do anything to make the pain stop, including accepting their version of reality. They understand that humans have a breaking point, and they systematically apply pressure until they find yours. Several psychological principles explain why this final tactic is so effective. It exploits cognitive overload, the brain's tendency to shut down when overwhelmed with conflicting information. When you're simultaneously dealing with false accusations, social isolation, and gaslighting, your brain simply can't process all the attacks effectively. Intelligence and strength don't protect you from this. In fact, highly intelligent people often struggle more because they try to logically analyze illogical behavior. This manipulation operates below the level of rational thought, targeting primitive psychological responses. They also intensify trauma bonding, the attachment that forms between abuser and victim. This serves a specific purpose. It makes you more likely to return to the narcissist to stop the pain. The alternating pattern of extreme psychological pain, followed by brief moments of relief, creates a powerful addiction-like response in the brain. This exploits the human nervous system's natural response to threat and safety. Your brain becomes conditioned to see the narcissist as both the source of danger and the source of relief, creating a dependency that can persist even when you intellectually understand the harm. Narcissists create false urgency as part of their final tactic, manufacturing crises that demand immediate response and prevent clear thinking. They deliberately create chaos and confusion to keep you in a reactive state. When you're constantly responding to manufactured emergencies, you don't have the mental space to recognize manipulation patterns or develop counter strategies. This keeps you trapped in survival mode, a state where you're focused on immediate threats rather than long-term solutions. Key indicators of this final tactic include a sudden escalation in the intensity and frequency of attacks, known as manipulation acceleration. Narcissists begin involving third parties more aggressively, turning your relationships into battlegrounds. They become increasingly desperate and unpredictable as their tactic reaches its peak, engaging in behaviors that seem completely irrational. This desperation reveals the true nature of their state: control panic, the terror of losing power over their target. The most effective defense is psychological detachment, the ability to observe the manipulation without being emotionally affected. The key is understanding the observer's self, the part of your consciousness that can watch your own thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. When you can observe these tactics as psychological phenomena rather than personal attacks, they lose their power. This detachment means developing the strength to remain centered in the face of assault. Reality anchoring is also essential, which includes keeping detailed records of events. Documentation is crucial because manipulation involves distorting historical facts. Having objective records helps maintain your connection to reality and combats manufactured amnesia, where constant questioning makes your brain doubt its own record keeping. Recovery requires shadow integration, acknowledging and accepting the experiences you've endured without being defined by them. Healing involves reclaiming your authentic self, the person you were before the manipulation began. This process often leads to psychological individuation, a deeper understanding of yourself and your patterns. Those who overcome this often develop enhanced intuition, stronger boundaries, and a superior ability to recognize manipulation in others. This enhanced awareness serves as protection and leads to a more authentic life. The ultimate insight is that the narcissist's power comes entirely from your psychological participation in their reality distortion. When you stop participating, their manipulation loses all effectiveness. Narcissists are actually far more psychologically fragile than they appear. Their elaborate tactics are desperate attempts to maintain an inflated ego structure. They are not powerful predators. They are frightened children in adult bodies, terrified of their own psychological emptiness. Understanding this truth is the key to psychological freedom. When you see this manipulation for what it really is, the desperate actions of a wounded individual, it loses its power to control your life. You have always had the power to reclaim your psychological sovereignty. The narcissist's final manipulation tactic is their last desperate attempt to prevent you from discovering your own strength. But now you know the truth, and the truth is the ultimate weapon. When a narcissist sees you as too dangerous to manipulate, it means you've already won. Their final dirty trick is proof of your victory, not your defeat. You are stronger than their manipulation, wiser than their deception, and free to reclaim the authentic life that has always been your birthright. When a narcissist finally understands that their final, desperate tactic, the psychological inversion and the smear campaign, has failed to break you, they enter a state of total existential collapse. You have successfully navigated the 3 stages of their assault, but what happens when you finally go no contact or reach a state of total indifference is a phenomenon that very few people are prepared for. This is the moment the predator becomes the prey of their own internal void. To understand this next phase, you must recognize that the narcissist's entire existence is built on external validation, a concept often referred to as narcissistic supply. Without your reaction, without your anger, and without your defense against their lies, their inflated ego has nothing to push against. It begins to deflate, leading to what is known as a narcissistic collapse. In this state, the mask doesn't just slip, it shatters completely. You are no longer dealing with a calculated manipulator, but with a raw, exposed engine of pure insecurity and rage. This is the most dangerous time for the target, but it is also the moment of your ultimate liberation. During this collapse, they may attempt a maneuver known as the Hoover. Like a vacuum, they try to suck you back into the cycle of abuse. This move is often disguised as a profound breakthrough or a sudden realization of their faults. They may offer a false apology, a manipulation tactic where they use the language of healing and accountability to lower your guard. They tap into your natural empathy, hoping that your desire for closure will lead you back into the trap. But research into these patterns shows that this is merely another form of psychological reconnaissance. They are testing to see if their previous inversion left enough self-doubt in your mind for them to regain entry. If the Hoover fails, the narcissist often moves toward devaluation 2.0. Since they can no longer control you, they aim to destroy the memory of you in the minds of everyone you share in common. This is an escalation of the smear campaign where they attempt to rewrite history entirely. They may claim that they were the ones who left you, or that they are praying for your recovery from the very instability they tried to induce in you. They are fighting for their survival within the collective unconscious of your social circle. They need the world to see them as the survivor and you as the casualty. However, there is a psychological law that works in your favor, the law of consistency. Eventually, the narcissist's behavior becomes impossible to hide from the very allies they recruited. Those flying monkeys and helpers will eventually experience the same manipulation you did. The narcissist cannot maintain the persona forever. When they lose one target, they must find another. And in doing so, they leave a trail of psychological evidence behind them. Your silence during this time is your greatest strength. It serves as a mirror, reflecting their frantic, irrational behavior back to the world. The path to true recovery after this final battle is what experts call post-traumatic growth. This goes beyond just returning to who you were before the manipulation. It is the process of building a new, more resilient psychological structure. You begin to develop what is called radical discernment. You no longer just see people for who they claim to be. You see them for their archetypal patterns. You become a person who can detect the shadow in others before it has the chance to project itself onto you. This is the warrior phase of individuation. The ultimate revenge against a narcissistic system is not a confrontation. It is your own thriving. When you live a life of authenticity, joy, and deep connection with others, you provide the ultimate proof that their reality inversion was a lie. You become a living contradiction to their narrative. The narcissist's final trick was designed to make you small, isolated, and broken. By becoming large, connected, and whole, you complete the process of reclaiming your soul. You are not just a survivor of a sinister tactic, you are the architect of a new reality that they can never enter. There is an even deeper layer to the narcissistic collapse that occurs once their final dirty trick of psychological inversion fails to destroy you. When the manipulator realizes that their smear campaign and their attempts to rewrite reality have not broken your spirit, they enter a phase of total internal disintegration. To understand this next step, you must realize that for the narcissist, your reaction was their lifeblood. Without your emotional response, they are forced to confront the very thing they have spent their entire lives running from, the hollow emptiness of their own true self. This is the moment where the predator becomes a ghost of their own making. When you reach the stage of total indifference, you are essentially performing a psychological exorcism. By refusing to participate in the manufactured chaos, you are no longer providing the mirror they need to sustain their inflated ego. This leads to a state known as narcissistic starvation. During this period, the narcissist will often experience a complete breakdown of their persona. Because they have no internal sense of worth, they become increasingly desperate to find a new target or to force a reaction out of you. This is why you might see them cycle through intense bouts of rage, followed by sudden, confusing displays of victimhood or love-bombing attempts to draw you back in. This brings us to a phenomenon known as the hoovering phase. Just as a vacuum sucks up debris, the narcissist will try to suck you back into their distorted reality. They may send messages that appear deeply apologetic, or they might manufacture a fake emergency to exploit your empathy. They are banking on the idea that your boundaries are still porous. But research into these behaviors shows that these are not signs of change. They are tactical maneuvers designed to regain control. They want to prove to themselves that they still have power over your emotional state. If they can make you angry or make you cry or even make you help them, they have successfully validated their own existence at your expense. If the hoovering fails and you remain a stone wall of silence, the narcissist moves into the final, most pathetic stage, the search for a new host. They will often jump into a new relationship or a new social circle with startling speed. They need to find someone else who has not yet seen behind the mask, someone who will believe the lies they tell about you. They will paint you as the crazy ex or the unstable friend to their new audience, using you as the cautionary tale that bonds them to their new victim. But there is a hidden truth in this. By moving on so quickly, they are actually admitting their own powerlessness. They cannot exist alone because there is nobody home inside their own mind. The aftermath of this experience offers you a rare opportunity for a psychological rebirth. Once you have survived the absolute worst of their psychological warfare, you undergo a process called post-traumatic growth. This is the stage where you move beyond simple survival and begin to integrate the wisdom gained from the struggle. You develop a highly tuned vibration for manipulation. You begin to see the red flags in others almost instantly, not out of paranoia, but out of a refined intuition. You have faced the shadow in its most naked form and come out the other side. This makes you more dangerous to manipulators than you ever were before. The ultimate victory is the reclamation of your narrative. For a long time, the narcissist held the pen and was writing a story where you were the villain or the victim. By going silent and focusing on your own healing, you take the pen back. You realize that their opinion of you was never based on who you actually are, but on what they needed you to be to protect their own fragile ego. When you stop caring whether they understand the truth or not, you are truly free. You no longer need their validation, and you no longer fear their smear campaigns, because you know that anyone who believes their lies isn't meant to be in your life anyway. This journey leads to a state of being that is unshakable. You have reached what is called psychological sovereignty. You are the sole ruler of your inner world. The narcissist's final tactic was a gift in disguise, though a painful one, because it forced you to find a strength you didn't know you possessed. You have transitioned from being a target to being an observer. You can now look back at the wreckage they tried to cause and see it for what it was: a desperate, failed attempt by a broken person to dim a light they could never hope to carry. Your life is now your own, and the authentic path ahead of you is wider and brighter than it has ever been. There is a final, hidden phase of this psychological battle that begins the moment you achieve total detachment. When the manipulative individual realizes that their inversion tactics, their smear campaigns, and their emotional terrorism have failed to penetrate your new psychological armor, they encounter something far more terrifying than your anger. They encounter your silence. To understand this next chapter, you must realize that silence is not just the absence of noise. In the world of the human psyche, it is the ultimate boundary. It is the moment you reclaim every ounce of energy you once spent trying to explain, defend, or rescue, leaving the manipulator to face the absolute void of their own existence.